think we are in good shape to get started if you folks are ready. So welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is Diana Del Solar, part of the marketing team here at 3C Logic. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Voice AI Solutions for SAP Customer Service. With 3C Logic, and we'll be featuring a live demo today as well. Just a couple quick housekeeping things today before we get started. So I'll be moderating today's webinar. This webinar is being recorded as well. So we'll share that recording out with folks through email by tomorrow, so shortly after today's webinar. So you can keep your eye out for that if you want to share that out with some other folks or revisit any part of today's webinar. We'll also have time for some Q&A as well at the end. So if any questions pop up for you as we go through, you can add them to the Q&A box below, and then we'll field those towards the end of today's presentation. So from there, we can go ahead and get started, and I will pass it over to you, Guillaume.
Great. Thanks, Deanna, and welcome to those joining us live. And of course, thank you for all those who may be watching this on demand at a later date and time. My name is Guillaume. It's a pleasure to have you guys join us. With me is my counterpart, Navya Pandiri. So I run the Alliances program, and within that scope, responsible for our strategic relationship with SAP. And Navya Pandiri, who's our Vice President of Product Management, is very hands-on as it pertains to our ongoing technology collaboration with the SAP team, specifically for SAP Service and Sales Cloud. So thank you for joining us. We're excited to have a discussion with you all and share a little bit about what we're doing for SAP, and more importantly, how it might add value for you and your organizations. Now, Navya is going to be diving into a live demonstration because ultimately seeing is believing. But I thought it would help to just lay the groundwork here a little bit and set the basis for, where is the state of voice in today's customer experience or CX market, especially in this digitally transforming period that most organizations are undergoing. And interestingly enough, perhaps for some, disappointingly, you'll find that when you look at some of the most recent studies, be it Salesforce or Calabrio or some of the other major analysts out there, voice is still, among consumers, the vast majority of consumers, the preferred customer service channel. Now, many organizations during this period of digital transformation, in some regards, are trying to offset that because presumably not every request or inquiry should necessitate a call, and for that, and with that in mind, not every call should, for that matter, have to reach a live agent. But when you talk to agents, you'll actually find that even agents on the receiving end will tell you that voice is still the preferred channel, specifically when it pertains to complex issues. So what we're going to talk about today is sort of how do you balance the two? How do you make sure that not every request, goes or defaults to a voice-enabled interaction? And at the same time, how do you make sure that those that do are for those use cases that deserve or are meriting of the help of an agent resource? Now, of course, one of the things that's really changing the landscape as it pertains to customer experience in general, but voice and contact centers no different, is really the introduction of AI, which obviously is a hot topic this year. When you look at AI and its potential impact on the customer experience market, as well as voice and contact center operations in general, interestingly enough, while it's only managing in single digits number of customer interactions coming through as of, let's say, last year, it's expected that 1 in 3 customer interactions, are very likely going to be handled by AI, whether it's a chatbot, a voice bot, as early as 2031. And that's going to have a meaningful impact, specifically when you look at the cost of maintaining these customer service operations and initiatives. So by 2026, AI could potentially offset approximately 80 billion in labor costs, and that's going to balloon to about 240 billion by 2031. So AI is obviously having a material impact when it comes to customer experience, and specifically what we're going to talk about, which is how can it be leveraged in voice-enabled engagements and potentially balance those self-service needs and deflection points, but also at the appropriate time, leverage those human assets. So obviously that begs the question, how can you leverage voice and AI to ultimately improve customer experience? Well, that's what we're going to cover. And Navia is going to dive into some examples. But one thing I would leave with the audience before we do is to recognize that AI, although it is absolutely important, in fact, should be part of every future initiative of yours, it's not a silver bullet. So it's going to be an exercise of how to balance and leverage AI to help streamline those voice engagements, customer engagements in general, but to make sure that you don't emphasize AI, because that could have, unfortunately, the unintended intent of actually creating worse experiences potentially. There's nothing worse than getting the sense that an organization doesn't want to give you access to an individual. That can actually accelerate the point of frustration, despite your best intent. Now, at the same time, we absolutely advocate in this digital transforming period that most initiatives, if not all, should be digital first. We're simply suggesting that they not be digital only. So again, that balance between AI, self-service, and so forth, and those human resources that presumably should still be part of the equation to really together get the most optimal outcome for your customers, for your operations, for your agents, and so forth. Now, that begs the question, okay, well then, how do I weave AI? How do I optimize my customer experience engagements when it pertains to voice, and specifically the voice channel, in a customer service capacity? And in today's discussion, how can I do that in relation to what I may have built or plan to platform on with the use of SAP, whether it's Service Cloud or Sales Cloud? And with that, ultimately, the best way to answer that question is give you an example, some live examples of how you can do so, and what might be some of the material impacts and outcomes. What's the ROI? And with that, Navia, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can do just that.
Sure. Thank you, Guillaume. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. So before I dive in, just to add on to what G just mentioned, the AI is only as good as the data that you feed into it, right? So I want to emphasize the fact that the demo will be focused on how we can leverage that data that's available within the SAP environment to create that effortless, seamless experience for the callers, incoming callers or customers. So as part of the demo, I'll be going over three main personas today. One is the incoming customer, incoming caller, who could be a customer dialing into a business, or it could be an internal employee dialing into a help desk. The second experience would be the agent experience, the agent who is trying to take those incoming interactions and help the incoming callers in however he can using a unified desktop. The third is the admin or the business process owner behind the scenes, who's configuring queues, call flows, monitoring dashboards, and reporting. So we'll be going over these three main personas. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I hope you can see my screen, G.
Yep. And while you do that, just a reminder to the audience, while we will leave room for questions, Q&A at the end, if something comes up that you'd like to raise as a question, feel free to just put it in the Q&A chat box, and I'll monitor that as well for you, Navia.
Sure, thank you. So before we dive in, as I mentioned, I'll be covering three main personas today. One is the caller, the other is agent, and the third is the business process owner. As part of the caller experience, I'll be making an inbound call to show you what that self-service would look like, leveraging AI. And then we'll show agent escalation as like a second part of that call. And once I'm done with the live call, I will quickly summarize some of the highlights that you have to walk away from that demo. So let me go ahead and dial into the inbound number. I'll be dialing in as a customer who already has an existing ticket open, and I'm calling in to follow up on an existing ticket. So let me just dial in and put it on speaker.
Hello, Navia Pandiri. Thank you for calling Moen Customer Support. We recognize your phone number, but for additional security, please input your customer ID. You have been verified. Our system indicates you have an open ticket. The description is smart faucet not turning on. The status of the ticket is in process, working on it. Is this what you were calling about?
Yes.
Please tell me in a few words, what do you need help with? I can help add a comment to the ticket, read the last update, or escalate to a specialist.
Read the last update.
Your ticket was updated on the 10th of October, 2023. with the comment, investigation suggests that the faucet requires a hard factory reset. Please follow the instructions suggested in the knowledge base. Would you like to receive a text message with a link to the knowledge article?
Yes, please.
You should have received a text message with a link to the suggested knowledge article. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
Yes, can I please speak to an agent?
Please hold while we transfer your call to a specialist.
Our representatives are currently on the line with other customers.
So I'm just going to quickly put that on hold. And I'll quickly summarize what just happened. Okay. So first of all, when the call came in, you notice that we tried to personalize the caller experience by getting their name from the SAP instance and reading out their name, right? So the announcement was like, hi, thank you, Navya Pandiri, thank you for calling in, right? So we were able to read out the customer's name. So we were able to personalize the announcement. The second that you noticed on the call was we tried to do proactive intent detection by leveraging the data that was available within SAP. And what that means is, instead of asking the caller to, hey, please, can you please press 1 for an existing ticket or 2 for a new ticket, or please enter your ticket number, we were able to take a look at all the data that's available within the system of record to proactively identify what is it that they may be dialing about. We call that proactive intent detection. So we went ahead and noticed that they have an open ticket. We were able to read that out, and the customer immediately confirmed that, yes, that's in fact what I'm calling about. So, and the third piece corresponding to the demo is you noticed how we tried to do self-service as much as possible. So in this case, we were able to read the status of the ticket, which was available right here, as well as the last comment that was available. So we used text to speech to read out the comment from the SAP environment. And once that was read out, we also tried to weave SMS into the equation by sending a knowledge base link to the customer, which I will show in a second here. I have my phone projected, so I'm just going to go to my text messages so you can see what that looks like. So if you see, there is a text message right here. So that's what it would look like. So while the call was going on, we made sure that we weaved SMS into the equation to give that seamless, effortless experience to the caller. So instead of the caller going in and digging through the emails for the knowledge base, the SMS was available right there to enhance the experience even further. And we could have left it self-service because our goal is to self-service the call as much as possible. But we went ahead and tried agent escalation so we can show you what that side of the picture also looks like. So when the call was escalated, you notice that as an agent, I was already logged into the 3C Logic CTI, which was embedded right in the SAP environment, so that I have one unified interface to directly help the customer. I have all the contextual information at my fingertips to get right on the problem. So I was able to see the call being offered to me within the CTI. I accepted the call. Immediately, you notice that my profile was pulled up here automatically. I can see all the tickets corresponding to caller right here. So I have contextual information at my fingertips. And towards the end of the call, I can write in notes. I can end the call. I can select a corresponding appropriate disposition corresponding to the call and go ahead and finalize the call. And once I'm done, I can just take the CTA out of the way so I can focus on my SAP screen here. So just to do a quick recap, we talked about how the caller's announcement was personalized. We talked about how we proactively detected the intent. We talked about self-service options in terms of using text-to-speech to read out the announcements dynamically to the caller, as well as provide a knowledge-based link via SMS. And then we showed the escalation part where the agent was right within the SAP environment and had the screen pop and the contextual information to get right on the problem. So that's the end-to-end experience. At the end of a call, all the call metadata, all the interaction data is posted back into SAP. And that's what you see here. So if I go ahead and refresh, you will see all the activities posted. And if I go ahead and click on a specific activity, you will notice that all the call metadata is posted right here, along with the call recording URL. So if I want to listen to the call recording as a business process owner or a contact center admin, I can do that. I can click on this link, advanced speech analysis. So if customers have opted in for additional sentiment analysis or speech analytics, we provide that additional information also. which can be readily accessed from the SAP environment. So as an admin, if I want to dig deeper into the call, go to specific moments in the call where there were negative moments detected, for example, I can dive right in and see what exactly happened. I can even translate that into a training potentially for that agent as well as subsequent agents that are higher. So automatic QA is possible, evaluations are possible, a lot of things are possible within this environment, but I will just leave it at that for now. But in short, it's not just the call metadata and call recording URL. If you need sentiment analysis, that can also be made accessible from the SAP environment.
And Navya, that's leveraging artificial intelligence, right, to help sort of do sentiment analysis at scale, right? So an individual doesn't have to listen to the call. This is actually doing it for them, correct?
That's right. So yes, that's right, G. And apart from that, of course, there are other admin options that are available, which I will walk through in a bit. To close the loop on what else can the agent do from this interface, there is also click to call option available. So if I scroll to the customers and go to contacts, I can quickly click on any of these phone numbers to initiate an outbound call right from this interface. So that's another option that's available at the fingertips for the agent. So moving on to the next experience, which is the admin experience, I would like to move on to the embedded admin portal here. And when we talk about the admin or the business process owner experience, the IVR designer, the call flow designer is at the center of it. And that's what you see on my screen. This is what enables the admins to create that drag and drop experience catered to the customer. The proactive intent, the personalization, and the deflection that I talked about is all built on this canvas here. And all you can do is you can drag and drop these components that are available into this space and design the journey. As an example, you see the call comes in. The first component that's available here is a webhook component, and it allows us to dip into SAP and get that information from SAP. Any information like the name of the customer, the description of their ticket, and so on can be captured. Not just that, that information can be subsequently used to personalize the greeting. So for example, this is a welcome announcement where you can see between Google and AWS, we have about 30 plus languages and several voices available to announce those text-to-speech announcements, like the description that we read out was in the background behind the scenes. This is what was playing that. So if I scroll down further, you can see how we can dynamically insert the name or anything, right? So that it's not just a static announcement, but it's dynamic based on what the call is about, who the caller is. So you can do that using these dynamic text-to-speech announcements. Further down, if you see, we validated the account, we verified the intent, and there was an SMS that was sent out. Again, this is all a drag and drop interface where you can just build your flow on the fly, as well as you can make changes on the fly as well. So it could be in the middle of the day, and any calls from there on will get updated with the new flow. One thing I'll add is there is another use case that most of our customers use is the outage announcements, where potentially within the SAP, we could create an outage table where, as an admin, let's say that I want to maintain an outage announcement here. I can quickly change the announcement. I can mark it as active. And what this means is at the beginning of the IVR, we are able to take a look at these outages. And if it is marked as yes, we can dynamically play a proactive outage announcement that, hey, if you're calling in about this this outage, we are already aware of it and our engineers are working on it. It's something along those lines. Again, these announcements can be directly configured within the flow. However, if the SAP admin chooses to maintain them here, that's an additional option that's available. Moving on, we have seen the interaction manager or the IVR designer, but I'll move on to the dashboards now. So as part of the embedded dashboards, you can monitor the entire contact center performance end-to-end on a live basis, see who is online, who is available, how many calls are waiting in the queue, and so on. Let me go to a much more comprehensive dashboard here. So if you see my screen here, you can see all the calls waiting in the queue. You can see the queue statistics at any time. You can right click and change agent assignment. So as an example, if you see more calls are waiting in the queue, but you have fewer agents that are available, you can right click and change assignment dynamically. You can, if you see an agent in wrap up mode for too long, you can change their presence. You can right click and change their agent presence, for example. So it's not only live, but it's also actionable. At the same time, it also provides alerts. So you can say, if my call waits longer than 5 minutes in my queue, please send me an alert, right? You can get an email alert or an audio alert or a color coded alert. Additionally, drill downs options are also available, but in view of time for this demo, we won't go deep into that, but there are several advanced options available within the dashboard, so you can effectively monitor it without having to sit right in front of the dashboard. Last but not the least, we have our own analytics tool, where as an admin, I can drag and drop and build my own reports. As an example, I can just say I want to add an additional metric, run a report on the fly. I can just see, choose to view that in a different format, schedule this report to be emailed to me or my business owners at regular intervals. So I'm in the loop, as well as I keep my bosses also in the loop, so they know exactly what's going on, where are the points for optimization, and where are we doing well. So you get that complete picture end to end. So with that, I end the session for today. So we went through the caller experience, the agent experience, which is the unified experience within the SAP environment, as well as the admin experience. So I think that ends the demo for now. But if you have any questions, I think we have time to take those questions now.
So Nadia, thanks for that. Couple quick questions, real quick. One, obviously you were demonstrating everything in SAP version 1. Is this also available for SAP version 2?
Yes. So everything that you saw today, we are trying to replicate that in SAP version 2.
Excellent, excellent, great. Well, as a recap for the group, again, well, actually, I see a question that just came in. Hi, great demo. I would assume that the AI webhook Navia component could go to any SAP application with an API to retrieve data.
Absolutely. That's a great question. So it's quite generic. So it can talk to any third-party platform, not just SAP. And even within the SAP environment, if you have a backend order system or any other platform, ERP platform, it can hook into that and get the information that you need to cater that call.
Excellent, excellent. And let me see if there's any more questions here coming in. I don't see any. So, and that's a great segue, or to recap a little bit what we covered. Obviously, today's topic was about voice AI, and it's the application of leveraging AI to really help optimize the contact center or voice engagements that are still coming in today's digital world. In fact, a lot of organizations have actually seen an increase in call volume, not a decrease in call volume over the last previous, let's say 3-4 years. So voice is still very much a prevalent channel. And the challenge for many organizations is to try and maintain the same level of customer experience and quality, if you will, without necessarily having to see their operational costs go up. And that's where the use of natural language understanding, speech analytics, call transcription, and obviously a rich integration with SAP to leverage its data to optimize self-service opportunities, but also what might the agent experience look like. That's where you can actually do more with less, if you will, when you combine the power of a platform like that of 3C Logic with what you're building on SAP. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with 3C Logic, we are an SAP certified offering as it relates to integration with cloud solutions. Navia mentioned that we are available for both version 1 as well as version 2, specializing really in those contact center use cases with an emphasis on those voice interactions, but we will be expanding those channels beyond that. You also saw, for example, the use of SMS. We are today available as a global service hosted on Amazon Web Services now with customers across 5 continents, typically global 2000 organizations, whether you're serving customers or employees. We address both across multiple industries, having been an expert in this field for well over 10 years. So if you have any questions, we certainly welcome the opportunity to speak with you. I do see that one more came in. Is this solution built on BTP, taking SAP AI for other AI technology? Navi, do you know, or is that something maybe we
No,
should?
it's not built on BTP. It's a 3C Logic platform, is hosted on AWS, and it's our own proprietary software. It's not built on SAP platform, but it leverages certain components within SAP so that we can accomplish that unified experience for the agent, but it's not built on BTP.
Gotcha. Okay, excellent. I don't see any additional questions, although I appreciate the few that came in. So again, for those of you who may be interested in exploring a little bit more as to how this might be complementary to both your existing and future plans for SAP as it pertains to Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, whether it be version 1 today or version 2 in the future, by all means, you can visit us at 3clogic.com/SAP. You can also contact us at sap@3clogic.com. And a member of our team would be more than happy to have a work through your current environment, challenges, use cases, and explore together where 3C Logic might be able to add additional value to your plans. With that, I think we're all set, Diana.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We'll be in touch by email with a recording, and otherwise, thank you, everyone, for joining.
All right, thank you.